Good afternoon, good evening, our respected speakers, moderator, students, our faculty professors, staff, our all alumni friends, brothers, sisters across the globe, and all the well-wishers of our alma mater who are watching live now. I'm one of your fellow alumni, Kalpana Majumdar, 1987 CST. Couple of months back, one of my alumni brothers, Shapun Shaha, told me about his dream of connecting our alumni across the planet of our beloved, historic, 167 years old institution and uplifting each other professionally and personally. Sounds very daunting, right? But soon I realized and I found out he's not alone. There are many have the same dream. So IIEST Global Alumni Networking Initiative was launched last month on the auspicious day, August 15th. And in that journey, we started sailing together, irrespective of where we are. And this is our first event where we will hear from our alumni brothers about their personal success stories on Chandrayaan-3 landing in moon soil first time. Let me introduce someone very special. We are very proud of him. He's senior scientist at NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory, California Institute of Technology, which we call Caltech, and a visitor professor at that same university, Pasadena, USA. His research interests include many things, including the search for life beyond Earth. He has publications over 350, and he has received many awards. It's a great honor and privilege to introduce my classmate, who is Apadumastuk Bangali B. College Mora. Means he's a true Bengali, head to toe, wrapped in B. College memories. Please welcome our moderator, Gautam Chattopadhyay.
Thank you, Kalpana, for the nice introduction. And I'm really honored to be here today amongst all this galaxy of stars and supernovas. In Bengali, we call it Chader Heart. And people who cannot speak Bengali, please do a Google translation. It's beyond me to translate this word. We are going to talk to them and ask them about their journey and what we have landed on moon and they have contributed significantly. But beyond that, they have been contributing for technology development in India, for ISRO and beyond for a long time. So we'll be hearing about their vision for the future and what advice they're going to give all of us, as well as the students who are currently at B College. So I know that B College has different names. B College, that's what we know. When we grew up at B College, we used always B College, then you become GAABESU, now IIEST. So please excuse me if I keep referring to our college as B College. So first, I'll go ahead and introduce our panelists today. It's a great honor for me to do that. I'll start with my friend and classmate, Debojyoti Dhar. Debojyoti did his undergraduate from B College in 87 in CST. I believe our batch, 87 batch, was the second year for CST. First batch graduated in 86. And he was from Hostel 15 and then Shen Hall. After his undergraduate from B College, he did his master's in computer science from BITS Pilani. Currently, he's working at Space Application Center at Ahmedabad, ISRO, as an outstanding scientist. ISRO has a designation. I don't think he needed that. He's an outstanding scientist, nevertheless. And also, he's the Deputy Director of Signal and Image Processing at SAC Ahmedabad and ISRO. He has a lot of interest. He has done a lot of great work. I'm not going to read all of them because then it will take an entire 1 hour. Instead, I'll just highlight some of his interests. His interest is, as you guessed it, ML and AI, among other things, machine learning and artificial intelligence. We asked all our panelists to send some fun facts about them. And so what I'm going to read is what they wrote. So he writes that he's a very humble and down-to-earth person. He hardly speaks about his own accomplishments, rather loves to speak highly about his friends. And I think, yes, now the moderator has, I think the people have muted everyone. That's great. So what I was saying is that Debojyoti won't have to write that. We all know that he's a really humble person, and the great leader is someone who actually spreads the praise to everyone. So he is a true leader. The next up is, again, my classmate, Shumitesh Sarkar. Shumitesh did his undergraduate from ETC in 87, Electronics and Telecommunication Engineering. He's from Hostel 16, and he moved to Shen Hall. I also belong to Shen Hall as well. After undergraduate, he did his master's in ECE from Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore. Currently, he also works at, again, SAC Ahmedabad. He's an outstanding scientist and a deputy director of SATCOM and navigation payload. So he has been involved in development and design and development for SATCOM and navigation payload for a long time across all ISRO missions. Fun facts: he didn't send anything. So, but I know him intimately. So let me tell a few things. If ever there was an award named Gentleman of Gentlemen, like Champion of Champions, so Shumitesh would certainly get that award. He is really a gentleman. He is an artist. He plays violin, mouth organ, and he's a very soft-spoken person. I hear that he bosses around, but I don't know how how he can do that, given that he's such a soft-spoken person. So next up is Dr. Ritu Nath. So Rintu Nath. Rintu did his undergraduate from B College in 95, electrical engineering. He's from Hostel 16 and then moved to Sengupta Hall. After his undergraduate, he did his master's from Central University of Tezpur and then got a PhD from Central University of Rajasthan. Currently, Rintu is working as a principal scientist at DST, Department of Science and Technology. He is an expert in the field of distributed computing and heuristics for high performance computing. He has written a lot of papers and book chapters and books, but I'll just highlight one. So one of his books on moments in mathematics is a very internationally acclaimed book and translated in many languages and in Spanish as well. So about fun facts, he wrote that what he misses most from the college days is the college canteen. That I can understand because sometimes our mess food was not that great. He always had fun with, they were a gang of 5 friends and he always had fun with them. It seems they're always late in class, even on exam days. So if you are a current student in IIEST and you are hearing this, please don't follow his lead. Sometimes, yes, success comes if you are late in class or late in exam, but not always. So be careful about that. Next, I'll move to Jayanto Laha. Jayanto is again in ETC in 2009. He was a day scholar. So he did not stay in any of the hostels. After his undergraduate, he did his master's from IIT Kharagpur. Currently, he's working at ISRO's UR Rao Satellite Center at Bangalore in the electro-optics laboratory. And fun facts about him that he wrote: he was a normal student without having any extraordinary capability or interesting facts. Of course, he's lying here because someone who is doing so great at ISRO, and I don't believe that you don't have extraordinary capability. You do, Jayanto. He used to enjoy life with friends at hostels and the impact lab of ETC department. So I don't know what impact lab of ETC department is, because during our time, we didn't have an impact lab. ETC department had impact on us, on our lives, good or bad ways, but we didn't have that lab at that time. So that takes care of the introduction part very briefly. Now, before I actually go into asking the questions, just I want to let you all know that we have been advised that as per ISRO's policy, speakers will not be able to answer any questions related to their work and contribution for this particular mission, Chandrayaan-3 mission. I can understand, but darn, I was going to ask all these questions: who put the diode upside down and blew up the circuits? Those kind of questions. Now that is out of the question. So let's start this, and I will first start with Debojyoti, and of course we'll go around and ask all of you. So the first question is that, Debojyoti, if you can answer this for all of us.
Yeah.
So how do you feel after Chandrayaan-3 success? From your personal feeling, that what is your, all of us were overjoyed around the globe when we first, Vikram landed and Pragyan came out. So what is your personal feelings, if you can tell us, and if you can give some fun facts about, that interesting time.
I will tell you. Thank you, Gautam. Since I'm traveling and I'm in a place where network is really troublesome now, so not able to join the way I wanted. But still, what I will tell you, I was there. In fact, that particular day in the control room. I think Jayanto also must be there. Jayanto also must be there. Uh, the day before, when we left Ahmedabad, we 3% actually left. And the 3% were the three deputy directors who were involved directly into this particular mission. And we went there, and next day, early morning, when we came to the control room, I did see there are little bit of tension undercurrent going on. But then this time, people were more or less confident, and many of the section which where all the avionics controls were there, people were very much attentive actually. They were actually going through all the commanding sequence, and before about a week ago, uh, there were continuous review going on. Each and every subsystem were checked, and since we were supposed to be assisting some navigation and landing, what you call landing site readjustment. That is the last phase. So since we were involved in that phase, we can't really do anything. In fact, everything is on board. So whatever we have programmed, that has to work. So I was tension-free relatively. But when that sequence started, that actual landing sequence started, it was very tense. It was very tense. In fact, when we started looking at the horizontal and the vertical velocity with respect to the altitude, when it was coming down, and the bigger problem happened when we reached almost about 30 to 40 meters above the lunar soil. And you might have seen it was showing that the readjusting. This readjustment is what we have done. So fortunately, exactly the Nadir point was a good place for landing. It was comparatively a safer zone. So since we found out the safer zone, we didn't have to give any translation to the lander. So we came down straight. But later, when all the data was realized, and we found that everything has worked perfectly. This is what we did so much of test on the space, on the lander module. So much of test happened. In fact, the continuous review, I think Jayant must be knowing, continuous review was happening only to ensure that things are all happening properly. And it was really great thing. We actually started the next sequence of rover sequence. We started little later. Uh, by the time I think half of the people might have left, and we were all standing there. Then the whole sitting position, sitting arrangement, everything went haywire.
Oh, thank you.
It all went up to 2 o'clock night.
Yeah.
When
Thank you,
Devojyoti,
for giving your, this personal feeling. I was watching live, and of course, when I think about it, I get a goosebump. So I'll ask now Jayanto to say about his feelings. He was also there, I know. So Jayanto, if you can tell us, your personal experience about this historic event.
As Devojyoti that told, I mean, I don't know whether Da should say, because actually, I think I have seen sir in some of our some of our places. Actually, we have worked in together, because some of the work was in a collaborative.
But we are now, Jayanto, we are now in B College platform, so everyone is Dada and Bhai. So you can say Dada, and after that you can go back and call him sir.
Definitely.
we are first Dada.
Okay. So that day, actually, I was there in our mission control room. We were there, and I was thinking about that, how Chandrayaan-2 time, how it has gone, and what is going to happen. But as Devojyoti told, also we know from that different testing that actually this time people are more or less sure, because there are many different tests, and many failure situation was also checked. But when it was actually landing, and some point of time we are seeing that velocities are increasing, and we are not sure what will happen. But at this some time it again came back, and it was got that control was established. The beauty is that everything has happened fully automatically without any control from the control room. That is a very beautiful things to see, and that how automatically all the sensors are working in unison. And it was finally coming down, and velocity was also controlling, altitudes are also controlling, and velocity and retargeting was happening. And finally, when it has landed and everything becomes zero, that time that mission control room situation, it was actually, I cannot really express in words. It was a lifetime experience for me to be in the control room at the same time. And then people were actually so happy that rover operations, people are not at all. Initially, it was not happening. After some time only, it has happened. But actually, that night we are continuously, I think we are in the mission room, and we are never feeling tired, because one after another historic things are happening, like rover rolling out, and that panel deployment, all those things was happening. And it is that all are like goosebump moment when we are seeing each and every things are coming out. And even our systems also, first time it was working from the moon surface and all those things. So really it is a lifetime experiences, whatever we have seen.
Thank you, Jayanto. And now I'll ask Shumitesh to describe his feelings that particular day. Shumitesh, you are muted. Shumitesh, you are muted.
Yeah, am I audible now? Yeah.
Yes. Go ahead, please.
Thanks, Gautam, for the introduction, and others, Kalpana and other Sapan and Shayan, who else is there in the organizers. So this is, I think, an excellent event. Coming to the question, how I was feeling. Actually, we were there in Ahmedabad, where the Chief Minister of Gujarat, he was somewhat interested in this event. So he was there and we are watching together along with him and his team. And yes, it was really a goosebump moment. And particularly because of the earlier failure, and above all, the Russian launch failure immediately before our launch, our landing. Those two events are really there in the background, and so we are all praying that things will go well. And but finally, what we have seen, that the people who are actually working, they are so confident of everything that this time it cannot fail. Chairman has mentioned that definitely we're going to succeed this time. So we are somewhat assured that things are going to happen. But then seeing things actual in the real time, almost real time, you can say, it was a great moment. And the enthusiasm of the entire nation. This is the first time we have seen that one of our bosses are commenting that it is like the India-Pakistan test match, the interest with which the entire nation was watching. So this is really wonderful to see. After almost the end of my career, I am able to see this kind of celebration nationwide. So this is a good thing, and I was also enjoying the moments.
Thank you, Sumitesh. Now you know that if you need to, get some favor from the Gujarat Chief Minister, please contact Sumitesh. Now he's close to him now. Okay, the same question now I'm going to go ahead and ask Rintu. Rintu, what did you feel during that time?
Yeah. Thank you, Gautam da, and thank you, Kalpana ji, for having me here. I was in Delhi, I was in the ministry, and watching this live transmission, and all of us were tensed. My association is, of course, in a different way, because I was associated with many labs for the data analysis part and some of the simulations in HPCs, because I'm a heuristic specialist. Because Chandrayaan-3, I remember, I was again at the studio, and I saw the failure. It was at late night, 1:30. All of us were there in the studio in NDTV, I remember. And this time it was entirely different, because we knew it's going to be successful. Although we were tensed, but we knew that the situations will not be similar repetition of the last time which we had. We wanted the people to realize that that a lot of people who are associated with it, and which final stage output what we see. It's very important that all of us will understand that the milestones come at the cost of great work and dedications of many people. There are many labs which are also involved. And as just now it was told that it was like India-Pakistan match. Yes, it was so tensed. And the best part is that the people's association and appreciation. See, we don't talk science much, especially in our country. We have a lot of things through this social medias and electronic and digital platform. We don't talk science much. So this is a celebration of science, appreciation for science, celebration of science, and especially if we are able to motivate this kind of events, if you can motivate our youngsters and to think about science, have more aspirations. They are motivated to take things further and to know that sky is not even the limit. I think along with the Chandrayaan-2 success, that is another success we should all aim for.
Thank you, Rintu. And you bring up a very important point about the science, celebration of science and technology. And one thing that ISRO did really well this time, I believe, is about bringing, talking about this and, or engaging the entire nation, particularly the students across across the nation. So it was really beautiful to see that, the excitement. It was early morning here for me when I was actually watching, and I wanted to pick out and see, the moon looked different on that particular day, at least to me. So thank you. So we'll switch gear now. And I will again start asking the next question. All these questions actually were posed to us by our alumni. So these are not my questions. I'm just following lead. The second question is that, you have to be honest here and tell your honest opinion that what kind of influence our alma mater, BE College, GAABESU, or IIEST had on your career. So if there was any, I know that, as we look back in time, we can see, what kind of influence those 4 years of life on the campus had. So I'll start with Jayanto. Jayanto, if you can tell us, what kind of influence GAABESU, BE College, or IIEST had on your career.
First of all, I would like to tell you that the ISRO job I got after undergraduating from IIST only. So afterwards only I did my masters from IIT Kharagpur through that sponsored masters. So whatever I did today, everything is due to BE College. That is the first things, or GAABESU. Now, when that in the year of 2009, when I have passed out, that period 2008, 2009, in that time period, there is a global recession was going on, and companies are not coming, or even if they're coming, they're offering less salary. So there is always a problem with that campusing. So that time, some of the professors, and that time they're saying that you people should try for ISRO, DRDO, or BARC. This kind of jobs also you should go. Normally we hardly listen this kind of jobs after BE College people are going. Very few people are only opting. And fortunately, I am able to see 2 of my seniors has joined in SAC Ahmedabad. So they also has put a lot of influence on me that for joining, and some of electronics department professors also did that same thing. And also I got some of very fine students as my classmates, and they also have a very humble background, and some of them are not very good in English speaking, but they are actually a very good innovator in the sense they can do many different way of coding, and we used to learn more from the friends rather from the professors. So that's impact lab, whatever I told, usually we be in the impact lab and try to share ideas from the friends. So all those things actually help me in doing the things whatever I'm doing today.
Thank you. So I don't think the takeaway message is that that professor didn't help, but the friends help more. So I'll ask Shumitesh now to talk about the same thing, about what kind of impact you think BE College had on your career.
Yeah, the first thing what I remember is the camaraderie, the friendship, and the dependency among our friends, and the way whether it is the copying those drawings in the night or whatever it is, we always used to depend on others, and everything was a kind of joint venture, including the preparation for the exams and all those things. So this is I think a typical environment of BE College, which helps to develop this kind of camaraderie, basically, which helps in the long run, and when you manage a bigger team, it definitely helps to work as a team member and also to lead the teams. And secondly, coming to the contributions or whatever I can remember of the professors, I was greatly influenced by Professor Basu Malik, S.N. Basu Malik. I did my project with her, and he was a specialist in RF and microwave, and through him only I got the inspiration to work towards RF and microwave. Of course, satellite came later. And another professor and another person, a great person, whom we should remember is Dr. T.K. Sen. He used to take our digital communication, and that was the subject. And the way of his teaching and the involvement in the subject, that is something, it was really remarkable, and that has influenced, I think, all of us in some way or the other. These are the two role models for me, I can say. Really, it was a great experience there in the college. So it has influenced definitely in a great way.
Thank you. Thank you, Shumitesh. Now I'll ask the same question to Rintu.
Thank you. Whatever I am here today, I have no doubt to say it's because of my days in BE College, 4 years. There's a lot of changes happened. You know, I am coming from a suburb area, Kalyan area. Even I didn't know how to speak in English. Even I found it difficult to read because I was from Bengali medium. From that place, that stage onwards, you know, wherever I've learned, until now, I understand that despite having that very difficult, tight schedule of tests and exams, which I used to hate it, but I know how it's paying off. That learning part, of course. I will take names of CRM, CRMATO, and then JK for control system. We used to say that if you are not able to sleep at night, just read JK's notes and you will feel sleepy. We used to joke about that, but I know how good those notes were. BRB's machine class. It was really dream of having kind of teachers like that. Although we used to have a lot of criticism in that time, but I'm sure at the back of my mind, we actually knew we were learning, and actually that paid off. And whatever in future, I started working my career as in Samsung, and then switched. I did everything on my BTech, all MTech and PhDs, all are on the job. I was sponsored from the ministry, but that BTech actually did everything to me. I started my career from Samsung, then switched to CDT, and then switched to CDEC. Worked with the ministry then, Department of Science and Technology. But still, my days in BE College are still, very important. We are all close together. Those 5 friends, as Gautam said. Let me name them: Saptoshi, Fandu. That is, we used to call him Fandu. Not Saptoshi. Saptoshi is Sophoto, and Fandu, the Nando, and Suvendu, and myself. We were the 5 brigades from Coastal 16, and then Sengupto, late in classes, and most of the time sitting in other places, maybe Gokultala also. But what was common to all of us, we took things, the study seriously, of course. We learned it, and that paid off. And later on, when I went for further studies, it helped me a lot. The studies which I did in our graduations helped me in MTech and also PhDs, and that is aspiration and that appreciation for science, I think that paid me. And now I'm actually doing research on HPCs and how to improve the throughputs for HPCs, and almost all research labs I worked. I worked with also with the Frankfurt Institute of Technology for a long time. We have collaboration with many other worldwide leading institutes also. And entire thing, I give credit to my 4 years stay in BE College.
Thank you, Rintu. So same question to Debojyoti. So Debojyoti, what kind of impact do you think our BE College had on your career?
Yeah, actually, if I tell you the impact, when we go nowadays to take the interview in computer science, what I found that they know AI, machine learning, these jargons, but they don't know the fundamentals. And that is what we were taught in 4 years in the college, in this college. And when we joined in 87 September, we were still working in Fortran, that language, in ISRO. C language, we were taught that 1 year before or 2 years before that time. So when we started shifting to C language, programming in C language, I was the only person who was knowing C language. Though that time we were not having any course on networking. Today, without network, we cannot even communicate, right? But that was not a problem of the curriculum, because the networking was not there in India that time. So that is why that networking was not taught, that subject. But the course curriculum of computer science those days in our college or Calcutta University, I think was the best, because we learned fundamentals, particularly mathematics. Without that, you cannot proceed any further in computer science and technology. This is my view, and I felt in every walk of life in office, mathematics is the only thing that I actually bank upon, be it in AIML, DL, whatever. And those days, in 1986-87, we were taught neural networks and artificial intelligence. Can you imagine? So, though we were the second batch, I think Kalpana must be knowing, must be agreeing with me. There were few professors, particularly from Calcutta University and IIST, Kolkata. They were coming for the lecture, and they were excellent those days. We have learned so much from them. And we have one professor, Dr. Amitabh Sinha, who taught us microprocessor those days. And he taught us microprocessor 8086. Today also, when I go for taking the interview, when I ask any microprocessor, they will tell 8085. And we learned 8086 assembly code writing those days. That is the difference. That is the difference. People might be knowing nowadays Python programming using different libraries, but lacking fundamentals. This is what my sincere request to IIEST professors or teachers, that please make the fundamentals clear to the student. The rest of these things will happen automatically.
Thank you. Thank you. That
This
is
what.
Thank you, Debojyoti. You all bring up very important points here. So I just want to say a few things here that, in some circles, B College is looked down upon, that we are not the best college in that area, whatever. But here we are. Look at this. This panel for outstanding scientists doing such a great job for the nation. So, and they're all from B College and IIEST. So that makes us so proud, really. And you bring up about the fundamentals, because we did not have a lot of facilities, that is true, but maybe that forced us to learn the fundamentals more, because we could not bypass, going through that fundamentals. So let me move on to the next question. So the next question is, what kind of guidance or words of wisdom that you would like to share with our current students at IIEST, and to the young alumni? So I'll start this time with Sumitesh. Sumitesh, what kind of advice you are going to give to the current students and young alumni of IIEST?
As Debojyoti mentioned already, that the fundamental things should be given proper stress, and they should be taken up seriously, and the other things will naturally develop over that. And coming to this, particularly the space related studies and all, what we are seeing that there is a sea change now happening. So probably there's job opportunities, and these things will be much wider in this field probably in future, because so far it was restricted only within the government organization like ISRO. But now slowly it will come down to the many startups and private companies. So along with the studies, probably students should look at the specific startups in the course of developing some technology, specific technologies, and not only for space, for any advanced fields, whether it is related to computer science or any other fundamental thing also. So I think that is some kind of change that is happening in addition to the curriculum, the proven curriculum which we have been carrying for so many years. Now the environment is changing, and probably students should be more encouraged towards this. So that is one point. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. So a lot of questions are actually coming from the audience. So I am not going to now ask everyone to answer the same question. So I'll mix it up. So next, I will ask Joyanto to answer one of the questions that came from the audience is what kind of impact, societal impact, do you think the Chandrayaan-3 has on Indian society?
Okay, that Chandrayaan-3 impact, okay, there are two way of impact, I'll say. One is that impact that Chandrayaan-3 is such things where no other country could able to reach, that we are able to reach in that area of the moon, or we could able to do soft landing. So that basically says that if we are good with that same thing, what Devajyoti already told, that fundamentals, if we stick to the fundamentals and if we do enough simulations, testings, then we are also capable to do that, and that is one of the great impact, I will say. So all people should not look down upon that we don't have facilities, we don't have a less funding, that means we will not be able to do certain things. That is one of the impact. Other impact definitely will be that science point of view, that is we are reaching in some area where other people did not reach, so we may get some opportunity to do science on that. So these are the main impact, and definitely many startup ideas also will be helpful to do this kind of things in a future. So that is the thing.
Great, thank you. So the question to Rintu is, if someone wants to take up a career, our current students want to take up career in space science and technology. So what is the path? What will be your advice to them? What is the path they should follow?
Okay, before I answer you, a few points I would like to tell. See, from IIEST, I don't see much of these faculties who are trying for getting research funds. This is, I don't know whether IIST professors are here or it can be communicated. In fact, very, very few. ACRB is there, Science and Engineering Research Board, we are there. And if IIST applies, there will be almost 100% sure that funding will be done for research projects. This is one. And number two, even the students, as a young scientist, they can apply. So there are many other avenues where I don't see much of participations from West Bengal. That's I keep on telling wherever I get the forum. So I thought this may be a bit of off track, but I should say this. There are avenues, and NRF has come, that National Research Framework, which is rolling out 50,000 crore in 5 years. So if you are thinking that fund is a constraint, it's not. Fund is not the constraint. Maybe we have more fund than people are asking for it. Okay. So NRF, this big way is coming because ACRB will be submerged to NRF, and I would expect if I ever go to IIST, I would rather tell them to apply for that funds. There are avenues where funding is possible, and from IIST it should go. For the students also, I know this campus is, you have to have the campus interview and get a campus placement, and that's fine. I also had it, and I got joined campus interview. But if you are aiming high, as you said, that if somebody is for as an aspiration for space science, then you should also look beyond that, because the campus placement will give you a placement which all of us know what kind of placement which it gives. That will not give you much of an opportunity to fly high. I worked for about 2 years, and then decided to quit. I'm not saying that everybody should quit, and that's my own personal opinion. But if somebody is trying to think of contribution in terms of science and technology, your own contribution, then think beyond. There are avenues. There are even there is a scope of joining those Indo-French and Indo-German. This was special I'm telling. You have to apply for that, and you go and you stay there for it depends from 6 months to 3 years. You can apply, and if you're an engineering background, it's very easy to get it actually. So Indo-German and Indo, if I'm sure that IIST students are here with us this webinar, so you can look for those Indo-German and Indo-French fellowships. Just after the BTech, you can actually apply for that, and you get the 3 years or the 6 months to 3 years of stay there, and you come back and you contribute. So rather than thinking a very pinpointed, like, go for space science, I'm sure that getting a fellowship and going, training yourself, and then coming back and you contribute, that's a better way of doing it. Anything specific question I would like rather answer.
Thank you. Thank you, Rintu. That was very, very important message for our young alumni. So the next question I have for Debojyoti is, what kind of message would you like to share with our fellow alumni, senior and junior, our brothers and sisters who are really very proud of your achievement, about your career as well as this space technology, the boom that we are having right now?
Honestly speaking, I am a accidental recruitee in ISRO. Actually, I never wanted to be in this particular field. Actually, all this just happened because that time, you know very well, that time the government job was a lucrative one. So we all joined there. In fact, but then what you have to really do, be professional and try to love the work which you are doing, wherever you are. And this is what exactly I did when we reached quite far away from home, about 2,500 kilometers away. And those days it was not a easy job to do. When the train takes 48 hours to reach from one from your home to your working place. It was not an easy job. I think myself, Sumitesh, and then other few people who joined that time, it was very tough for us. Only thing, yes, we had a very good group, and that's how we have grown. We have continued there, and but then it was all the passion actually. It's the passion that actually drives and drove us to this journey, and we started loving the work. Whatever we do, whatever we have done so far, so many missions I have seen. I have seen Earth observation mission, and then meteorological missions on which we are working, excepting communication. That Sumit takes care. Rest of the Earth observation missions we are taking care, including the planetary. Mars mission also I have looked after the processing part. But then that is whatever you are doing, do it with a great passion. And you are a professional first.
Yes.
You are a professional first. So
Excellent.
you have to approach that.
Excellent message. Excellent message, Debojyoti. So now we have to move on because I'll have to hand it over to Kalpana pretty soon. So before that, I want to ask one more round of questions. If you can, give that me in a nutshell. So I'll start with Rintu. The question for you, Rintu, is that what is next for ISRO? If you are given a free hand today, and you suppose you are the boss and you are given a free hand, what do you think will be next for ISRO?
Yeah, definitely after Chandrayaan-3, it's a lot of science to take place that, what next for the for moon is on the stop. We already had Aditya mission to know more about the sun, which is having a strategic locations and knowing about the sun. The next strategy, of course, the man mission. But before we plan even doing this man missions, it's also important that we have really public opinion and telling people of India that things which is going to happen and what is the benefit. It's not only that the mission we send a mission after mission and do science, But what is the long-term benefit, and what is that space economy? How ISRO is going to, taking place, placing itself to get that, that part of the space economy, which is worldwide is talking about. More participation from the public, private player, and maybe more participation in terms of funding, and also the research part also. So it's not alone, it's taking the entire things on your shoulder responsibility. That may not be right way of taking things further. So more participation, I'm sure that new policies have already come up on the space, and that is going to leverage on the public participation, private participation. And yeah, that's it.
Yeah, thank you. So I'll ask Jayanto. Jayanto, if you can tell the current student of IIST why they should join ISRO and not go to IT and or other places, because most of the students nowadays prefer to go to IT or to private sector. They make more money. So why should they come to ISRO?
Okay, it is a bit difficult questions, but definitely I'll try to answer. First of all, in campus placement, I myself got job in IBM, but I wanted to work on the core engineering area, so that way we went. But one interesting thing I'll tell, that is suppose normally computer science, ETC, electrical, they are only prime candidate who are going to IT, and they are also always, we are talking about AI, machine learning, all those things. I'll say there are pretty interesting things that are also available in the space equally about that AI and ML application. In fact, it is more in a space, because really in the space there is no one to take care about that satellite. You have to send only robo or systems or machines only to do that. So that will be much more exciting. So out of excitement and passion only, really you can come. So that is the message.
Great. Yes, I agree with you. So the next question I'll ask Sumitesh. Sumitesh, that you have been, as you mentioned, you have been involved in great job in communication payload as well as navigation payloads. So ISRO fundamentally has been all these years has been involved in communication infrastructure for the country. So what do you think about ISRO's role should be in the scientific payloads, and how our current students and alumni can help in that journey? If you can, elaborate a little bit on that.
Yeah. Actually, if we see the beginning of ISRO, it was started by our great Vikram Sarabhai. That time the motto was, the entire thing was to improve the social conditions in India, how to use technology to improve our conditions. So it started with that humble background, and the entire efforts was towards is coming, whether it is communication, remote sensing, it was the national development. So science missions probably it was not thought of in the way we are talking about now, but slowly it has come into the mainstream. And we have already specific teams which are working towards science missions, like under, of course, under DOS, Department of Space. We have Physical Research Laboratory, and then the Space Physics Laboratory in the VSSC Trivandrum. So these are the groups which are already working on this, whether it is astrophysics or astronomy, or in those fields where we need specific types of instrumentation, and they are also developing independently as well as in collaboration with ISRO. So it is already there, but of course, as we see now, it has to come in a. Definitely, the focus for ISRO is now will be slowly shifting towards probably more towards the science missions and that kind of activities. So there is a lot of scopes, and I think the academia, particularly the universities, of course, we are getting a good idea from institutions like IUCA and TIFR. We have a good collaboration with those teams also. But I think there should be more participation from our academic institutions, which were working on this astrophysics and these fields, so that we can develop more, we can go for more and more science payloads. Of course, the fundamental part is not done within ISRO. The science research part is done specifically in PRL and Space Physics Laboratory and the other institutions which we are working with. But definitely in the instrumentation part, ISRO can do a lot. And as per the requirement, definitely in our coming years, we'll be focusing more towards it.
Thank you. Thank you, Sumitesh. Last question, because I'll have to hand it over to Kalpana pretty soon, to Debojyoti. Debojyoti, very quickly, if you can tell about it, given the private sector, taking so much interest in space business nowadays, creation of InSpace by the government of India, why shouldn't our student join Skyroot or other companies instead of ISRO? So, very quickly, if you can tell, this ecosystem about this.
In space ecosystem, this is a good sign. Actually, if a set of persons are joining from ISRO to those private space agencies or space companies, startups, it's a good thing. It's a good thing. It's a good sign, because ultimately you need those kind of expertise to those startups and companies. In fact, I heard in some places, ISRO is in fact not very much worried about this. Actually, because the ISRO is undergoing a transformation, as we all know. It's all a demand-based scenario now coming up. ISRO will mostly concentrate on the science mission, planetary missions. So naturally, the instrumentation part will play a very big role. The science instrument development, the technological part development will be a very big activities that ISRO will take up. Definitely, ISRO will take up, and as Sumitesh told that if any, because see, the space segment is attractive only when there is a commercial viability which is existing. Then only there will be a that Skyroot or that kind of companies will come and invest, right? Space science and the space technology is particularly in the planetary and the science mission where ISRO will definitely take a lead and continue to explore. Whereas in the private sector, even if some of the ISRO employees or ISRO veterans joining to those companies is in a way a good sign. That means the maturity is slowly evolving.
Great, excellent. So I will actually hand it over to Kalpana now. Before I do, I really want to thank all of you, particularly the 4 panelists. You were really excellent. You showed what you guys are, why you are so successful. And thank you so much. It was such an honor for me again to moderate this session. Kalpana, over to you.
Thank you, Gautam. We heard so many inspiring stories. We wish we could have more time. We'll try to answer your remaining questions offline if possible. We convey our heartfelt gratitude and thanks to our all speakers, Debojyoti Dhar, Sumitesh Sarkar, Jayanto Laha, Rintu Nath, and our moderator Gautam Chattopadhyay, for sharing their personal, very inspiring stories with us today. Thank you. On behalf of GAABESU, we cordially invite you all to our upcoming annual day on December 30th. And if you are planning to be there, you might be able to meet them in person. Our heartfelt thanks to all of you across the globe who are able to sail with us today and who will be listening to this event in future. My big thanks from bottom of my heart to GAABESU executive members for their outstanding support, and to my 7 hardworking, dedicated, and determined alumni brothers, Shapun Saha, Sanjoy Basu, Manoj De, Chitta Hati, Hashan Sheikh, Abhishek Dash, and Sriyan Nandi. Because of them only, this today's event became a reality. Well, I'm excited to share more news with you. We have 2 more upcoming events this year, November 5th, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with Amit Dash. Our students, young alumni, please mark your calendar with your career questions that you need experts' advice and guidance. We have another event coming on December 2nd at 9 p.m. Indian Standard Time with Arijit Banerjee. You will be receiving the flyer with all the details about this event very soon. Also, as part of our pilot, we have formed 3 significant interest groups. These are general leadership, another one is computer science and data science, and third one is technology consulting. Please join us, please row with us in building a world-class alumni network for our beloved historic institution. No matter where we are united, we're bonded, and we will build it together. In Swami Vivekananda's words, we rise, awake, and stop not until the goal is reached. Thanks again for sailing with us today. Until next time, goodbye